What's up, guys? It's CL Live Videos here, and I'm here to bring you my review for Ratchet and Clank Future, Tools of Destruction, and Quest for Booty. Quest for Booty was add-on that you could get. It wasn't an add-on to the actual game. They actually released it as a downloadable for the PS3, but they charged it at retail price pretty damn high, and to be honest, it doesn't deserve its own review. So pretty much they're the same game, pretty much, except you focus more on the pirates that you meet in this future game. So I'm saying why not just combine both of them. So here I am talking about Ratchet and Clank Future. We finally get Ratchet on the PS3. When it came out that the PS3 was coming out, a lot of people were kind of upset because they thought, when the PS2 came out, Insomniac and Naughty Dog dropped both of their, main stapled main franchises. And so a lot of people were worried about their Ratchet and Clank franchise. Naughty Dog picked up with Uncharted, but if you guys did not know, Uncharted is not. When Uncharted was made, the owners of Naughty Dog left the company, so it's not really the original owner's idea to make Uncharted. That was just, whoever took control, they made Uncharted. And Insomniac tried out with Resistance. Now, I'm just going to dab into Resistance a little bit. Resistance, what that game was a first-person shooter that came out for the PS3. It was a home title for the PS3 when the PS3 first came out. It was a first-person shooter fighting aliens, and it had the Ratchet and Clank feeling to it, where your weapons could evolve. You could evolve your weapons. You can find weapons. You can get new weapons, and the weapons were unique, but it just didn't have the same feeling. And so Insomniac went back to its old roots, and they brought us a Ratchet and Clank game to the PS3. This time it was Ratchet and Clank Future Tools of Destruction / Quest for Booty. Tools of Destruction this time is a different focus on storyline. The storyline does not focus more on random stuff. It actually has a continuous plot. The whole point of the story is talking about how Ratchet is trying to find out about his past more and what happened to the Lombaxes because of Emperor Tachyon, who came and talked about how he destroyed the Lombaxes. So pretty much Ratchet with his buddy Clank, who starts seeing things called the Zoni, pretty much are going on an adventure, and it's pretty much like every other Ratchet and Clank adventure. You get the same side quests that you normally get. You get a couple ship battles. The arena returns, and it's pretty much a fun overall experience. The only problem I would give Future Tools of Destruction and Quest for Booty is that the weapons are kind of lame. Some of the weapons just feel recycled, and at this point where there's so many Ratchet games out, it's really hard to get original weapons. You know what I'm saying? Because this game has been out for so long. It's like you can't really redefine weapons. And they try to add the PS3 6-axis controls in there. Now, if you guys don't know what PS3 6-axis is, because you probably bought the newer PS3s, or I don't know if the newer PS3s still support 6-axis, but 6-axis was like where you move your controller like this, and it just felt awkward. They added that into the game, and it pretty much wasn't really necessary. It was just to add on to the gimmick. Some of the weapons in that game, they would tell you, oh yeah, use the 6-axis to move the weapon. And it was like, yeah, that's cool and all, but was it really that necessary? I mean, yeah, it just kind of felt like a gimmick added on in there. The Clank, the Clank side missions in this game, it seems like every year with Clank, they just get worse and worse. And I'm not trying to be rude here, but it just feels like they get worse and worse. And it's like, why are the Clank missions getting so bad? It's like they're not original anymore. They're so boring. I mean, they kind of make up for it in Kraken Time, but I will talk about that more when we get into Kraken Time. But right now we're talking about Future Tools of Destruction. So with Future Tools of Destruction, it lives up to its name. There's tools of destruction for it to use, but some of the weapons just kind of feel lame. The enemies, though, I must say, are probably one of the tougher Ratchet enemies I have faced in the past, so I'll have to give Insomniac 2 thumbs up on the enemies. The final boss fight is pretty interesting. I really did like the story of this game. And then we move on to Quest for Booty. I'm not going to spoil what happened at the ending of this game just for the sake of, people who want to play. Quest for Booty is pretty much just a game with Ratchet. It's really short, and you fight the pirates that you meet during Tools of Destruction. It's an alright game. There's nothing really too much wrong to say about it. It's short. It's about 4 hours gameplay-wise, and I know a lot of people are like, 4 hours gameplay-wise? That sounds long. Like, no. A long game is like Skyrim, which has like 150 plus hours of gameplay time. This only has 4 hours, and they charge it at a high price. And pretty much this is a DLC for the Ratchet and Clank Tools of Destruction. But I have to talk about this game because this game actually leads into a Kraken Time. So kind of not talking about Quest for Booty. Is kind of like leaving out a crack of time. For a Quest for Booty, pretty much they give you like 5 weapons from Ratchet and Clank Tools of Destruction, and you use those 5 weapons. They give you 1 armor upgrade, and you pretty much just do that, and it pretty much explains what happens to the pirates, why they are not featured as much in a crack of time, and that's pretty much what it does. So when it comes down to Tools of Destruction was a really nice refreshing thing. When the PS3 came out, all these serious games were out. There was Call of Duty, there was Battlefield. There was just too much serious games, and Ratchet and Clank brought back that innocence, and why many people do love the Ratchet and Clank series, and why gaming doesn't always have to be serious. That's why Ratchet and Clank Tools of Destruction gets a solid B, and this is sign language for B for all you guys that didn't know, gets a solid B for me. But Ratchet and Clank Quest for Booty, really, Insomniac? You couldn't have just said this is a DLC. You don't know how to make DLCs yet? I mean, come on. Really? You have to charge a lot of money for this game. I mean, they charge this game as it's like a whole new game. And it's stupid. It's so dumb that they charge this game outrageously for the gameplay length it is. I mean, $39.99. I know a lot of people are saying that doesn't seem a lot. That's like a PSP game. That's like a cost of a PSP game and a Nintendo DS game, depending on the popularity of the DS game. And those games are longer than this game. And granted, there are better graphics on the PS3, but still, it shouldn't have been charged so much money. So, Quest for Booty gets a C- for me. To be honest, it didn't need to be made. And we're almost done with this Ratchet and Clank series. Ooh, I can't wait. We're going to be talking about Ratchet and Clank A Crack in Time, so make sure you guys tune into that. If you guys like this video, subscribe up above. Check out my sports channel, Chase Oliver 68. I talk about professional wrestling, MMA, and sports. Pretty much that's about it you need to know. Follow me on Twitter, Chase Oliver 68, and I'll see you all later.